Hello, everybody. Hopefully, I am being heard, and hopefully, I'm live. It's been a minute since I did a video, and I actually might still do a video, but for the moment, I wanted to just go live. I want to actually do a June update, but I'm not going to do it in this format. I'll do it another time when, when I'm not live. Nobody wants to watch a hour-long video of my whole collection. But it is June, it's the first Sunday of June. Nice, beautiful day here, warm. Of course, it's going to be in the 80s. It's probably already what is it, 78 right now. It's gonna be 87. Hello there, Andre. But I'm here to show my orchids. And hey, Denise. And this is still going pretty well. I'm really afraid to put it outside. You can see already that the tips are browning. Roots still look really nice. Back over this way, this is the Phalaenopsis that I tried to kill. I knocked the crown off, which I just kept as a souvenir for some stupid reason. And it actually is trying to bloom. I'm not sure what will happen. I assume that there are more roots in there. I mean, I did buy another one because I thought that this would die, but I kept it anyway. And it still might die. That does not mean that I'm going to get flowers, although it sure is looking like I might, but who knows. And I'm also finally getting a little bit of root action on my LC Luke-Tone African Beauty, which is one of my favorite orchids. I just got that last year. And this has got a nice growth on a plant that I tried to kill. This is my Dendrobium canaliculatum. And this is where some of my Arangus are hanging. This is my, still pushing those spikes a little bit closer to blooming. That's my Leptodes bicolor alba. And I need to move this. These plants, another thing that I failed to mention on these, especially mounts for me, I water them a lot and they get salt on the leaves and I have to spray fungicides on them. All of my Arangus and my Aranthes that get watered almost every day, especially in the summertime, I have to make sure that the fungicide, I spray it because that's what that is. And this is my Enrichi. And this spike is still pushing. This gets a soak every day. And I'm not quite sure what that is. Probably from drops from above, I would assume. Looks like some of those buds are gonna blast. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Okay, so yeah, but I still have, there's this is, and this sheath is gonna push forward. Some of the roots that one did get the brown tip on it, but there is some more green in there, hopefully. Let me see, what else is going on over this right here. We had been talking last few days, or maybe it was last week, about whether or not this was bud. This is my Charlesworthii, and I got that. I haven't repotted it yet. I know I got it last fall because it was in bloom for our fall show, and I haven't turned the lights on in here, but it is looking more and more like it's a going to be a bud, a flower spike. It is looking more like a bud and less like a flower, a leaf, I'm sorry. That looks like a bud. And I always thought that Charsworthii was a cool grower. I always heard it was cool grower, very finicky, difficult. So, and it does have this other fan that it gave me two fans. Sorry, my hands are, I've been painting. I didn't kill anybody, or I'm not bleeding. I guess I should say that. But yeah, that's a surprise because I bought it just because it was a nice plant and it was in bloom, and I can't believe it. So, surprise, surprise, because it's definitely not cool in here. I did have to take some things inside. This is just such a pretty, beautiful thing. I mean, I love this flower. I love this plant. Love it. Love it. Such a delicate, fragile, and it's so vigorous. I mean, there's more flowers to come, and it's putting up growths. All around. Well, maybe not all around, but there's a few growths. And it's already bloomed off of that spike. Yeah, this is so beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. So rewarding. And that lip is so precious. Look how just faint it is. The markings. But it does pop faintly. That's still gonna have one more flower. Doesn't look like these are gonna be giving me any more, just the one, but that's gonna give me another flower. Speaking of this is a gift that I got that was in addition to some orchids that I got from my buddy Chris Bevins, who you guys probably know if you've been watching YouTube for a while. He probably still has his channel. It's still out there. It's Growing Things. He was one of the very first YouTubers, along with Wade and Brad and, of course, Miss Orchid Girl. Who else was there? There was Iris. Baltran was one of my favorites. But yeah, Chris Bevins, him along with Wade, and there was Anna. Anna had her channel as well, Crooked Orchid. And I think Anna still does videos occasionally, but Chris sent me a box of orchids, and this was one of them. I'm assuming this is a Nobile. So if Chris happens to be watching, shout out to Chris. He sent me that one, and there's a couple more. I'll point them out as I come to them. This is also doing pretty good for me. That's my Hieroglyphica. I need to transition this out of these little plastic. It's been repotted inside of this little plastic thing, but I'm going to transition it up to the way that I have my Phalaenopsis over here, kind of in a hanging net pot. I kind of like the look of that. Even though these are only here for the summer, this is where my Brassavolis, or I did get that. That's new. But this is where, I suppose this could stay here. This is where I usually will hang my Brassavolis in the wintertime so that they can get maximum light. And Phalaenopsis. And this is so fragrant. This is the one that's smelling up the greenhouse right now, I'm assuming. But all these, this is fragrant as well. Valentii, that's Phalaenopsis Valentii. It's my Bastianii. And that's my Fasciata, my new one, which is actually the same as this is my Fasciata, which is struggling. It is trying to stay alive. It's trying to push out another leaf. And up the cane, I should probably just cut off these spikes. That might keep the plant alive. But I just can't bear to see I can't. Just I can't. I need something else visually that actually reminds me that the plant is, if it was just like that, no, no. That spike is still going, progressing, as well as there's a new growth over there. So this gets a daily watering, really up the watering once they start, because these get a dry rest. Just misting occasionally. You all know that. This is Encyclia Marii. I did put this is my big mock chow yu that was hanging up. It fell yesterday. Actually, the rack fell, probably because that's so heavy. I mean, this is a big sucker, and it's heavy, and it fell, and this fell. So here's a spike that was on that plant, on this plant that broke. So I had to repot it again, and it's just sort of hanging there, and it's less light than it would be if it were hanging up, and I don't want to hang it up right now, but everything looks nice. I'm getting new leaves on these that are newly repotted. There's another spike on that. So things are looking really good on everything except for, my struggling. I thought it was doing okay, but it looks like the spikes are even browning up. The tips are still green, but the bottoms of the spikes are brown. So that's no good. So yeah, this is another plant that I need to put in the water. This is my Sobanicophia robusta, and I'm just going to do that right now while I'm thinking about it. That gets a daily soaking, and that's my rainwater with anyway, I'm not going through that, but I'm happy that there's a new leaf coming on that, and actually there's a new root coming at the bottom. So that is very, very, very good, because the one thing that I've had in the past problems with that's not an angraecum, these are Arangus, same as this, is that after they bloom, it's really, a lot of them for me have died, and I'm not sure why, but hopefully the sign of the root is a good thing. Over here, still got these two fat buds happening, and there's that other growth that's right there. This is gonna be a stunner, first time bloom for me. Penny Corota spots crossed with Jungle Gem. So that's gonna be very spotty. This is my Johnsonii dendrobium that's got a new growth, which is really nice. And that spike is progressing back here. This is my area spicata. Those flowers are going over. This is my Dendrobium hercoglossum. Hopefully you all are hearing me okay. What else? This is still going strong, my Vandapira, although it's closing up some, and then I'll take it outside. Yeah, that's about it for in here. Those are those Neos that I'm going to give away. One of them is Fernanda's. I should mention that. Yeah, this Phalaenopsis really is just busting out. I mean, you can just see how, I would say that's recovered. I would say it's recovered, but yeah, there's new leaves. Yeah, I'm gonna give that away. I'm gonna give a few things away, honestly. I'm expecting this to do something. Can you hear me now? Hello? Are we here? Well, anyway, I'm here. And I feel on top of things out here, despite it being a complete jungle. Um, Lots of those, all of those that are tinged in purple, those are new growths. On that Brassavola, that's walnut, not walnut, gardenary, that's what it is. And this, I've shown this, you saw this when it was mounted, and you can see the roots in there. And now they're finally coming out the hole. Just a lot of green tips there on my Brassavolas. Nice new growths there. New growth there. Back over this way. This is newly mounted. Okay, thanks, Denise. This is BLC Chinese Beauty Orchid Queen. And there's a sheath right there, that's new. Oops, in there I just messed it up. Okay, not too bad. It fell the right way this time. Hey Nina, I was just talking about you about how I was showing off that, what is it? The path, Charlesworthy Eye. But anyway, that looks definitely like a spike to me. Not a spike, but a sheath. Let me see what else is going on out here. This is my, albeit fairly recent, 2020 recent. This is my Fire Wings that has already completed this new growth back here in the back, and now it's got 2 more coming, which is great. There are roots activating in the plant or just coming alive, so I fully expect to see something. Not sure what, as well as with my Dendrobium Velvet Melody Winter Wine. This new growth has totally accelerated since I bought it outside, and the top of the plants look like they are pushing out. Plus, well, I topped it off with more bark, but there are green tip roots in there. Really like the fact that this Barcaria right here that I got this spring is putting on another new growth, and it's got a new leaf coming out the top. This is Barcaria, it's a species, Uniflora. These like more shade, morning sun, afternoon shade. They don't like it. Well, they can take heat, but they like lots of water. In the winter time, they like full-on sun and cooler, closer to the window. So complete opposite cultures in different seasons. What else is happening up in here? Let me see here. I'm really liking this, which is still just like a seedling, but it's my Angraecum cross, George Kennedy crossed with Back to Burnham. And you can see the green tips and you can see the roots. It is snug in this pot, which means that it is root bound, and you can see the roots along the side of the pot. So I'm really, really encouraged by that. What else? Let me see. There's two nice new growths coming up. That's one of my Orontiacas, Corianthe. And this is still looking nice, folks. I'm still not seeing any new roots on my calcar, longa calcar, and gracum, but it's not flopped over. It stayed fairly erect in the pot. So I am fingers crossed on that. Over here, this is my big angracum. No, Arangus distinctum, and this has the 4 spikes on it. 1, 2, 3, right here, and then here's 4, and you can see that it is starting to form its buds on the flower spike along the nodes, and you can see at the end there really probably can't see them. It's very faint, but you can kind of see the end of the spike cracked open and pushing forth. And next here, we've been waiting forever for this, but it's going to be worth the wait. It's my Ruffly Profuse, which is going to be very fragrant. Very fragrant. All those flowers. And there's another flower spike here that's still, there's some buds showing. That's my livida, Prostechia livida. Let's see what else. My citrina is still pushing out that growth. Let me see. There are more blooms that showed up on this Dockrilla. Doesn't look like any of them are open yet. There's the bud, and there's another bud somewhere. There's a bud right there. But yeah, these flowers open and then they close at night. Really like those roots. Really like that. I'm glad that that is taken. This is going to be something that's going to be nice. That's my Florida Stars Spring Zing. I'm sure you guys have heard of that one. That's a good one. And you can kind of tell by the roots what color the flower is going to be. It's going to be a dark kind of a flower. This is my Trichocentrum Tigrina. This is my other Tigrina, my older Tigrina that's sunburned, but it's getting some of its green back. It was purple last summer, kind of like that. But this is one that I thought was getting a little bit too much sun here. Trichocentrums generally like sun. But it was the back of the leaf. But then when I flipped it over, it looks like it's getting another leaf or another growth. So that's going to be good. So I'm not going to worry about that so much. I'm not going to be worried about that at all, actually. And you guys remember this. I'm sure you guys remember this because I made a humongous deal about this because I had lost mine. And this is my... Shoot. Let me pull this down so I can show this better without messing up. Okay. So I'm sure you guys will remember this, and you probably even remember when I mounted it on this because it was like the fastest mount in history. But it's my very much beloved and newly purchased Akiko Sato. So you know how recent it was when I mounted this. You know how recent it was, and you can see all those roots that are on this mount. Let me see when it was. I'm sure that I put it on here. What does that say? May of 20. So that was less than a month, most likely. It's only the 7th. This is May 20, May 20. And already, big, fat, green roots. That is a sign of happiness. That is a sign of happiness. And it's just strapped on there with that tie. That's it. 2 of those ties. And it's already, wow. I'm so happy. And it actually, I had it first, when I first put it out here, it was over in that corner in the shade. But I know during that time we got a lot of rain. And since I saw the roots, I've moved it out into the sun where it probably prefers to be. So that's the correct way to acclimate. Still waiting on my little ragtag looking plant, but it's still my beloved Epidendrum reniferum. And these sheaths are definitely pushing. I will be getting blooms very soon. They're puffy. I mean, you can see the indentation there, right along that edge over there. And you can see that there's movement inside of there, and soon it will be pushing through. So that's good. What else? Of course, I can't leave this out, even though I've shown it so many times. But the flower count on it has increased so much more. And as you know, there's still 2 more spikes on that side to open. But yeah, this is my Grammatophyllum stapuliflorum. Still no fragrance. Well, I don't know if that's a fragrance or if I'm just smelling the plastic on the pot. But yeah, and the flowers aren't so bad as well. You know, it's beautiful. I got a shot at Plant of the Month for the iOS this month. I'll show a photo of that. But I am smelling this, even though the flower is about closed up. There's still fragrance. Yeah, there's still fragrance coming from it, even though it's closed up. That's my Scotianum, and there's another flower bud waiting in the wings right there. All of these plants get a daily dunking, even though that looks ratty. It's still got a new growth, and those growths will increase all over the plant. Did notice little bits of new growths coming out on my Angraecum right here. This is Florentulum, close to the base. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to zoom in on them, but that's a very good sign in my book. Just like little nubbins. Yeah, let me see if I can get over here. Just saw it. Yeah, that Scotianum is fragrant, but now I don't know where it is. But yeah, there's little nubbins coming out, and so hopefully those will push forward. I saw some new growths coming up on this. Is another Trichocentrum. Yeah, there's new roots right there. There's a new growth. So that's good, because these are coming out of dormancy. They like it a lot drier in the winter. I mean, almost bone dry, to be honest. They're only like supplemented by misting. Very rarely do they want a full-on water. As evidenced, here's my other Trichocentrum that is just waking up. This is Superbum, or Splendidum, that's what it is, Splendidum. Still a baby, but it's just waking up. And this is kind of where we started up here. As I was saying, these are waking up. And these are my other, right here, there's a new growth coming up right there. That's my Oncidium Stacey, and here's another one right here that's yet to wake up, so to say. Just walked right past this, and I'm sure this is probably what I'm smelling as well, because this smells like candy. It's candy, like not Fruit Loops, but it's a sugar sweet like that cereal. That's like sweet cereal, something like that. And I did bring my Galliandra out here, so that's good. All of these Brisavolas that are newly mounted kind of haphazardly, but they all have new roots. The ones that I don't knock over, and I've been showing you these with all the roots that are on them and going down the mount. Yeah. This is another Trichocentrum that hasn't woken up yet. I'm still waiting. This is my Lancianum. So I'm waiting on that one. This one kind of has woke up a little. There are some growths on the plant. Not so much roots, but I see growths, and so hopefully, but these get a daily watering. I haven't done that yet. I will shortly. This is waking up as well. This is my Parkinsonianum. I can see, I can't show them to you right now. If I find them, there are not green root tips, actually they're red tipped. I'm sure you know that well, Nina, because you have one of these probably in bloom now. I'm jealous. Okay, so back over this way, let me see. I'm kind of doing an update, ain't I? I really wasn't planning on that. I'm really happy that this has recovered. Yeah, I know, you should be happy. You should be wearing that around your neck. I bet it smells. I would. I mean, look, that would make a nice neck piece or an earring. Or a necklace, you know, like, as long as there's a flower on it or two, you know, or an earring. I bet you could pull it off, Nina. It would be a fashion statement, especially with the flowers. And I'm sure you have more than, I think you might have had 2 or 3 on there, right? You're probably smelling it right now. So yeah, I'm liking these roots. These are the first group of ones that I got from what's his face, Orchid Trail. And some of these roots, if you can see, they're tipped active. I can't really focus on it well, and you see it more when they're wet. So, but you can see these roots right here. That's a root porn right there. I would say that is root porn. And these are newly mounted. As this. So, very happy. Very, very happy. Moving on down. These are things that I just got. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. These are things that I've sprayed, that I found some mealybugs. You know, this is the plant that you've seen before in my videos that I lost a spike on, and I'm bound and determined not to, but I've seen some mealybugs, you know, in their favorite area where they like to hang out, those little buggers. You know, you see that right there. Even though that's old, they can quickly jump over to here and they love the new growths. So I'm trying to, you know, make sure that these new growths, because they're bigger and more healthier than the previous new growths. So it is approaching to where I will not have to worry about whether or not the spike is going to be bad, because it's going to be strong enough, but I have to get to that point. And those mealybugs, if I don't spray, they will stop it. But speaking of again of Chris Bevins, this is the plant that he sent me, that I bought from him actually. And I think I didn't have this plant, but I always wanted it. And I think Chris might have bloomed this plant because it does have previously bloomed spikes on it, and it is a Laturia. But I know that I had a green mist, and this one is crossed with Dendrobium spectabile with the Aureum form. So this should be a very nice, very crazy looking chartreuse, alien looking flower with maybe some spots, maybe some hairs, maybe some stripes, most likely stripes and spots. But that's what Chris sent me. And he also sent me another plant that is somewhere that I might actually regift to someone because it's doomed to die in my care. I'll just leave it at that. But I've cleaned up a lot of my stuff. This is my Guarianthe guatemalensis. It's still dealing with a little bit of scale. I have to really watch it, but it is coming out of it. It's got growths coming out. These are all new roots even, and there's another growth coming out there. It did have all of those brown canes on it. I cut those off. Same with this. This is my Schomburgia that had all that brown part here. So I took it all out and I pushed the good part back into the pot and then just put it lava rock over it. And it's always had this. This is my that I've never been able to grow. This is a luteola, and it's always sat with this Schomburgia, and it has never done jack crap. I've tried it on a mount and I've tried it on everything, so I've just set it there. It's like its little, I don't know, it's like a mascot, hoping that it'll sprout and it will do something, roots, but it's just been like that. I mean, but that's just fertilizer. It's green. It's green. But so it's still alive. So it just sits there and it gets water and it gets fertilizer, but it just sits there dead. Or sits there it sits there looking dead. But you can see this is starting to come alive as well. It's got that looks like a root, but it'll probably be a new growth at some point. So anyway, that's good. And this plant does have a new growth on it. A possum. You know, that's funny you say that because I know I have possums that come back through here. This is like the possum trail they come straight through here. And then they walk behind the greenhouse, burrow under my porch, and they have their babies underneath my greenhouse. Yes. I mean, possums the size of raccoons, literally. I've seen them. I've walked my dogs. I'm sure it's generations of possums. But yeah, literally. There was one a few weeks ago. My dog had been at the window barking for a couple of weeks, and one day I was sitting out on my front porch, and I saw this big fat possum just run right past me, off of the porch, or in front of me on the porch and down and around on the driveway and around. And 2 days later, I woke up and the same possum I know it was in the street dead. I know it had to be because it looked like it had whiskers on it. This is my Flickingeria, and this is another thing that I'm gonna probably give away or have an auction for or have a raffle for or an auction. Just give it away. This is a piece of this Flickingeria. These are many plants on this tree fern. These come from the rainforest, and they like shade, but they do need to be watered every day because they come from the rainforest, and they're just grown on tree fern. This one is, and I'm just going to leave it as it came. This is also Orchid Trail, as you know, and I would not have known it, but there's somewhere on this plant what appears to be a new growth. somewhere, and I can't identify it at this moment, but it just suddenly was there. But you can see how oh, here we go, right there. Right there. So the habit of this plant is what I've been reading. There's not much information on, this is Flickingeria, which used to be Dendrobium, Flickingeria scopa. And so what they do is they make their pseudobulbs, and then at the tip, it forms like a cluster of sheaths, and either the sheaths could develop into flowers or they could develop into another pseudobulb. So you can see that right there on down, how this used to be probably a little nubbin that came out to become another growth. That's how the plant grows, and then you can just pull it off, because these will produce roots at different sections. But anywho, seems to be a very easy plant as long as you give it water and shade. And it looks like it blooms anytime from spring through the summer. Maybe a little bit less, but it gets year-round water. And that's what I'm trying to give it. Yeah, so I'm really happy with those orchid trail plants. That's the one that is really nice. And I got 2 of them. One of them is already spoken for, but I'm gonna have another one that's gonna be available. So I have 2 of them now, 2 extra. And you know, I water these every day, or just dunk them, and you can see the roots are still nice and green. Hopefully soon they will be attached to that mount before they go to their new home, whomever that will be. So yeah. Oh, and I need to make sure that I dunk this one. And there's still going to be a debate on what this plant is. I honestly would rather have a ligophyllum, but maybe there are multiple plants on this. You know, maybe that's what they're saying, that they just put little plants on there. So it could be a mixture of Latogaceae and a ligophyllum, and maybe they were just left to fend for themselves. The foliage on them both do look the same. A ligophyllum is a little bit shorter and definitely more compact than Latogaceae. But if it ever flowers, I will know for sure, because Latogaceae is more of a deciduous plant, whereas a ligophyllum is not. A ligophyllum likes water all the time. A ligophyllum likes water year round, and it can bloom. I know. It is completely football size or soccer size. But yeah, you know, the thing about it is this is a tag that says, I think, yeah, this says a ligophyllum, but around the tag is nothing. So maybe that's where the ligophyllum used to be. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it in there for a little while longer. Make sure it gets that ball really moist. Especially now, because it's gonna be almost 90 degrees today. I hate that. I gotta somehow water this as well. This is a plant that I can't dunk it, because I don't want to damage the roots. So I'll probably lower this to around here and then just pour water over it. That's how I'll water this, and then let the roots kind of dangle on the ground for a while it drips down, and then those roots that are hanging down there will get moist as well and will turn green. Yeah, so that's another nice plant that I got from them. Diacrium Well, it's now bicarnutum. And that's the same way that I water this. I'm used to just sticking it in the bucket. And I probably could, if the bucket were all the way up to the top, I could just set this on top. But in order to get more of a volume, and I just will set it on the ground and just pour the water over it and let it soak through. That's what I would do with that big baby. But yeah, Stanhopeias, you know, they have to be watered every day in the summer, probably more than once, especially if they're showing growth. They like copious water while they're growing, especially, well, it depends on the heat. So yeah, folks, what time is it? It's probably time for lunch. Yeah, it's about 12:18 for lunch. So let me go ahead and sign off, everybody, so I can go to lunch, and maybe I'll come back later. We will see, because I feel like I got a lot more to show. Get off of here. I'll see you soon.